When you want to simplify radicals, the first thing I would do is ask you, do you remember how to make the factor trees? How can you factor different numbers? And in lower levels, you said, well, we could use 2 and 6, and then this 6 would break down into a 2 and a 3, because 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 3 is 12. And that's how we made our factor trees. I would encourage you to go ahead and circle um, the prime numbers, so that way you'd know, hey, I can't break those numbers down any further. And also, just to show you this, you don't have to use the exact same factors, because we could use 3 and 4. 3 is a prime number. I can't break that down further, but here's 4, and I can break that down into 2 times 2. And those are prime numbers. And you will notice that I had 2 2's, the same as I did over here, and 1 3, the same as I did there. So this gives you a little bit of freedom when you go and you factor these numbers down. You know you don't have to go a certain method or a certain way. And we're going to use that very idea for simplifying radicals. Now, let's just tell a little bit of a story here. Let's say that this 8 is inside of jail. Okay, this radical sign, we can pretend it's prison, and we need to break out. And so how do we break out? We go ahead and we factor it down. Well, what's two numbers that we multiply together that equal 8? 4 and 2. And that's okay, because I know that this is a primary number, or excuse me, a prime number, and I can factor this 4 down to 2 and 2 again. And those are prime numbers. How do you break out of prison? Well, you have to basically match a number up with its twin. This 2 is a twin with this 2. So that frees exactly 1 2 on the outside of prison. This 2, though, sadly doesn't have anybody to be a twin with, so it's left inside of the prison cell. And so we've simplified radical 8 to 2 radical 2. And that means that this 2 would literally be timesing the radical 2. That one's a little easy, so let's go through and try something a little bit harder. Here we go. We can factor this down. You could use 4 and 50. You could use 2 and 100. You could use 10 and 20. In fact, why don't we do that? 10 times 20. Neither one are prime, so we go ahead and break it down further. This would be 5 times 2. And this might make it a little bit more easier. Look, 10 times 20 is 200. Well, 5 times 2 is 10. And then here we've got 10 times 2, or you could use 4 times 5 or whatever you want. But now this 10 breaks down into 5 times 2. And we can go circle our prime numbers, so that way we don't forget about them. And now we see which ones have twins. Well, this 5 is a twin with this 5, so that frees one of the 5's on the outside. But we're not done yet this time. This 2 could be a twin with this 2, or it could be a twin with that 2. It doesn't really matter, so let's just make it this one. And that frees a 2 up on the outside. Well, on the inside, they were multiplying each other. They're still going to multiply each other on the outside. Are there any numbers left over? Yes, this one right here. So we put our radical sign, and this one has no twin, so the 2 stays right there. And what's 5 times 2? 10 radical 2. And that's our answer. Radical 200 is simplified to 10 radical 2. Go ahead, hit pause, simplify these 3 radicals, and hit play when you're ready. Okay, I'm going to use, in this case, let's use 6 and 3. Okay, this is a prime number, so I'll circle that one. This one breaks down to 3 and 2. That's our prime numbers. This 3 pairs up with that 3, so that gets a 3 on the outside, and 2 is left on the inside. So 3 radical 2 is the simplified version. This one, let's just use 3 and 100. Well, this is prime, so I can't break that down any further, but this one goes to 10 and 10. And then we could break that down into 5 and 2. And now we've got our prime numbers here, 5, 2, 5, and 2. Be very careful when you get an early prime number up here at the top like this. You might even want to pull it down but my writing's neat enough that I think I don't need to. That 3 has no twin, so guess what? That's going to be inside the radical sign. This 5 pairs up with this 5, so that's a 5 on the outside. And then this 2 pairs up with that 2, so that's a 2 on the outside. 5 times 2 is 10. And then we're left with the radical sign with that 3 on the inside. 60, it's not too bad. Let's just use 3 times 20. That's not a prime 20, so let's just go back through and refix that. 3 times 20. That's prime for 3. This breaks down to 4 and 5, so the 5 is prime. And then we get 2 and 2. Well, here we go. This 2 matches up with that 2, so it's freed on the outside. They've escaped the prison. But 3 times 5 is left inside. And they still multiply each other on the inside. So 3 times 5 is 15. And there we have it. We're done.